I ain't finna keep playing. Did it, I'd be in jail, stupid. Nobody never said they was in no A, no none of that. Just on live down here. If I did it, them phones gon' ping. I got 3 phones tell my direct location, where I was, where. Y'all know how the police play. If I somebody, they'll want these phones on all that. Stop playing with me. I ain't no rookie to this. Oh, did, boy. How the girl still outside 45 minutes late? Gonna be still sitting outside for trying to messages. See what the girl saying. Ask me what they doing. Man, somebody called that girl outside. She got all that put in her hand.
Facts. Which one of your homeboys she set up? Because we already know that's you on them fake pages talking about what somebody set up.
Okay, this is story time about how I got shot or whatever. So I was talking to this boy. We was talking for like a couple months or whatever. So he used to always be in my car, like ride around in my car. We used to always be together, riding around, stuff like that.
She's arguing with somebody. All the internet is looking on. Thousands of people live hear accusations shooting across the board at each other as to arrangements, at bandos, as to who was where and when. There's a comment made by a man named Youngster. He's loud. She's louder. The duration of this is nearly an hour. Then the stream cuts. Birmingham police receive a 911 call, 800 block of Crest Green Turn, 45 minutes later. Crestwood neighborhood. A female in an automobile on her driveway. Officers arrive at her time. It is already too late. Mia Nickson, 21 years old, pronounced dead at the scene. Last seen alive, January 10th, 2024, about 1 a.m., in the driveway of her family house in the Crestwood area of Birmingham, Alabama, on camera, on the internet, in front of everyone, and none witnessed what followed next. Quick shout out to our subscriber of yesterday, Bradley Parks 674. You opened the file. You stayed. You do not know how important that is. Now, here's where most people started with this case, the wrong question. Who was the man on that Facebook Live? That's where the internet went, immediately. Youngster, the argument, the accusations. Thousands of people saw it happen in real time, and so the math felt simple. Public fight, dead woman, same night, done. But here's the right question. Why was a 22-year-old from Bessemer connected to 18 dead bodies across 14 months, and nobody in Birmingham knew his name? Because this case isn't about a Facebook Live argument. It's about something underneath that nobody was looking at. And by the time they found it, the body count was already in the double digits. Let's open the file. Mia Sharadell Nickson, born October 19, 2002. Grew up in Crestwood, Birmingham. Did hair, did nails, was good at it. Clients came back. Clients referred friends. She talked openly about wanting to run her own salon one day, and the work she was putting in said she meant it. But scroll through her social media and the picture shifts. Jewelry, designer bags, stacks of cash and photos. For a young woman building a beauty business from the ground up, the numbers didn't track, at least not to the people watching. The name that stuck to her, the Birmingham setup queen. The rumor was simple. Mia got close to men. Those men ended up in bad situations. Whether that was true, half-true, or street gossip that took on its own life, it followed her. It became part of how people talked about her before they even said her real name. Think about that for a second. 20 years old, building a business, and already carrying a reputation that could get someone killed. If you're watching this and you've already made up your mind about Mia based on a nickname, I'd ask you to hold that thought. Because the people who gave her that name didn't protect her, and the person who allegedly killed her wasn't someone she set up. He was something else entirely. Before any of this, there was a red light. December 2nd, 2022. Mia's driving. 2 men in the car. One she'd been close to for about a year. His friend in the back seat. They're stopped at a red light, just a turn away from where they'd been. The guy in the passenger seat is putting an address into her phone. Then the shots start.
Mia doesn't process it at first. The gunfire sounds far away because the shooters are still driving up. It's only when the rounds start punching through the metal of the car that reality hits. One bullet enters the back of her skull, travels through her ear, and exits across her face. She blacks out. The car hits a tree. When she comes to, the friend in the back seat is pulling her out, screaming at her to get up. She can't. Her legs won't work. She collapses on the ground. Then adrenaline kicks in and she's up, tearing through the car looking for a phone, any phone, to call for help. She finds his phone, the guy in the passenger seat. She's screaming his name, asking for his password, begging him to answer. He doesn't answer. He was already gone. Mia spent months in rehabilitation after that. She lost hearing on her right side, lost vision in her right eye. Her doctors told her it could have been worse, which is the kind of thing doctors say when the alternative was a body bag. That case, never solved. No suspect, no arrest. It went cold, and it stayed cold. A year to the day, December 3rd, 2023, Mia went online and told the whole story herself, every detail, the sound of the pop, the ringing in her ear, waking up in the hospital nude under a warm blanket while they worked on her chest, screaming while they stitched her ear without putting her under, walking out at 6 a.m. and seeing every person she loved standing there waiting, and then finding out the boy she'd been calling for was dead. She told the internet all of it, raw, no filter.
So, y'all probably gonna ask stuff like this, but he had ops. You know, you fought with a nigga who had ops, and this was the outcome of it, so.
After the shooting, Mia kept going, kept doing hair, kept doing nails, kept posting, kept showing up at clubs, kept living the only way she seemed to know, loud and visible. Then, October 1st, 2023, Leeds police arrest her on serious charges, bond set for $40,000. She posted it, walked out. For a lot of people watching, that was confirmation. A 21-year-old nail tech posting a $40,000 bond without blinking. That fed every rumor that had ever circled her name. But here's the thing, most people missed. Whatever Mia was or wasn't involved in, and the streets had plenty of theories, none of it is what got her killed. Not the charges, not the bond, not the nickname. What got her killed was something nobody was looking at yet.
Early hours. Mia goes live on Facebook. A man called Youngster joins. They know each other. Same circles, same nightlife scene, same Birmingham streets. The argument is immediate and intense. Accusations start flying. Youngster is saying Mia plays a role in putting people in dangerous situations. Mia is firing back, telling him to stop playing, telling him he's making things up, demanding he bring out the phone towers to prove where he was. He's talking about bandos in Gay City and locations. She's telling him he knows where they were. The whole thing is chaotic, overlapping, aggressive, and completely public. Thousands of people are watching this in real time. Comments are rolling. Sides are being picked. Then the stream ends. Mia stays in her car, in her driveway, at her family's home. 45 minutes. That's the window. At approximately 1:45 a.m., Birmingham PD gets the call. Person struck by gunfire. 800 block of Crest Green turn. Officers arrive, find Mia inside the car, unresponsive, severe injuries. Birmingham Fire and Rescue pronounce her dead at the scene. Other family members inside the home, unharmed. Whoever did this was already gone. No witnesses came forward, no obvious physical evidence recovered, but investigators said one thing clearly from the start. This was not random. Mia Nickson was targeted. Before police released almost anything, Youngster was already online defending himself. January 11th, he posts that people will do anything to paint someone as the villain, says he's never put his hands on women or children, says the truth will come out. He was never named as a suspect, not once.
Not by Birmingham PD, not by the DA's office, not by anyone with a badge. But the internet had already held its trial. Public argument, dead woman, same night. The math was simple and wrong. There were also reports of messages Mia received in the minutes before she was found. The timing fueled theories that her death had been coordinated, that someone lured her to stay outside or called her back out. Officer Truman Fitzgerald went on the record, said detectives had followed every lead they could, said the community needed to come forward, said Mia was beloved, talented, building something real in the beauty industry. A $5,000 Crime Stoppers reward was posted. Months passed. Nothing moved. The case sat there. And while everyone was watching Youngster, the actual threat was somewhere else entirely. If this file is pulling you in and you want to follow where these cases go, staying with the channel means you open the next one with us. That's how this works. We build the record together. Over a year of silence. Then, Birmingham PD announces a warrant. A suspect has been charged in Mia Nickson's murder. The name isn't Youngster. It's Damien McDaniel, 22 years old, from Bessemer. He was already in state custody when the charge came through, held without bond. And this is where the file breaks wide open. Because Mia's case wasn't a standalone murder. It was one thread in something that had been unraveling across Birmingham for over a year, and nobody outside the investigation knew it. Here's who was connected to those cases. Jordan Melton, Birmingham firefighter. He'd been subpoenaed to testify in an unrelated trial. In July 2023, he lost his life, shot at Fire Station 9 in the Norwood neighborhood. His colleague Jamal Jones was shot in the same attack and survived, but his life was changed permanently. A firefighter at his station, subpoenaed to testify, gone. Angelia Webster and Chris Norris, a young couple. They were expecting a baby boy. They were going to name him Seven. Valentine's Day 2024. All three of them gone.
I want you to sit with that one. They were picking out a name for their son. 7. He never got to exist. July 2024. An unlicensed lounge in Birmingham. A birthday party. Gunfire erupts. 4 people dead. Angela Weatherspoon, 56. Marisha Gettings, 42. Stevie McGee, 39. Lorandus Anderson, 24. 10 more injured. Authorities later determined McDaniel didn't act alone in this one. A 27-year-old named Woods was also indicted. Charlie Moore, 61 years old, found by officers who had originally responded to a completely different call nearby. September 2024, 2 days apart. First, a woman shot inside 604 bar. Police didn't believe she was the intended target. Then, the 5 Points South attack. 5 Points South, popular nightlife district, Saturday night. Over 100 shell casings recovered at the scene. A vehicle pulls up, opens fire, drives off. 4 dead. Anitra Holloman, 21. Taj Booker, 27. Carlos McCain, 27. Rodriguez Lynn Patterson Jr., 26. 17 more injured. One survivor described hopping on one leg to get away. Another counted 5 or 6 people carried out on stretchers, said there were probably more. Less than 24 hours after 5 Points South, dozens more rounds in Eastlake. 1 dead, 2 injured, 4 other individuals charged in connection to that one. And through all of it, through the birthday parties and the fire stations and the parking lots and the nightlife districts, one name kept coming up. Damien McDaniel was responsible, according to authorities, for more than 30% of Birmingham's homicides between July and September 2024. 30%. One person. His father had been serving a federal sentence since 2013, 26 years. Damien attended Fairfield High Preparatory School. In October 2019, at 17, he was arrested on school grounds after 2 people were hurt.
In April 2023, he pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted murder, received a 15-year sentence structured as 2 years to serve, the rest suspended, followed by 3 years of probation. 2 years to serve for 2 attempted murders. His probation wasn't revoked until December 12, 2024. By then, the body count attributed to him had already reached double digits. Earlier in 2024, Damien appeared in a documentary called The Most Dangerous Place in Alabama. He spoke openly about violence in Birmingham and the thinking behind it. He talked about compassion, specifically why he believed showing it was a weakness when nobody would show it to him. He sat in front of a camera and explained in his own words the logic of treating other human beings as disposable. And then he allegedly went out and proved it, over and over and over. February 25, 2025, Damien is charged with intentional murder in Mia's case. Additional charges follow for Jordan Melton, Anthony Love Jr., the mass shootings, the bar shooting, the Eastlake incident. 14 total murder charges. His attorney enters not guilty pleas across the board. The defense attorney, John Robbins, stated clearly no evidence has been presented in court yet. He plans to conduct an independent investigation. He asked the public to let the judicial system work. The DA, Danny Carr, confirmed he is seeking the death penalty. At a motion hearing, the defense raised concerns about finding an impartial jury in Jefferson County. A jury expert was brought in to poll the county. The judge acknowledged the reality. At a certain point, finding 12 people in Birmingham who don't know a single victim or family member becomes nearly impossible. During one court appearance, Damien's mother was threatened in the courtroom. The sheriff's office had to intervene. His defense team said the threats against his family were ongoing and unreported. The judge addressed the room directly, told everyone present to engage in respectful conduct, reminded them that law enforcement was in the room and she would not hesitate to use contempt charges. On April 29, 2025, the state filed notice seeking the maximum penalty, where Alabama allowed it. 8 separate prosecutions, most likely tried independently. No trial date set for Mia's case specifically.
Here's what still isn't answered. What was the actual connection between Mia Nickson and Damien McDaniel? Was it tied to her reputation on the streets? To the Facebook Live? To the circles they moved in? To something transactional that investigators haven't made public? Was Mia's death one of the paid arrangements authorities referenced? Or was it personal? And the one that keeps coming back, did the argument with Youngster have anything to do with it at all? Or was it just noise that gave the internet something to fixate on while the real threat moved in silence? Birmingham PD's interim chief said the investigation isn't finished. Additional victims could still be linked. The conspiracy angles are still being pursued. Nearly 50 families were impacted across those 14 months. 50 families, one city. And for most of that time, nobody connected the dots. I want to ask you something, and I want you to think before you answer. If you watched that Facebook Live on January 10th, if you were one of the thousands of people in that stream, would you have looked past Youngster? Would you have considered that the threat wasn't the loud voice in the comments, but someone quiet, someone off-screen, someone whose name you'd never heard? Drop your answer below. One word is fine, loud or quiet. Mayor Randall Woodfin said it plainly. Anthony Love Jr. did not deserve to die at his place of work. Mia Nickson did not deserve to die simply by being at home. Mia was sitting in her own driveway, at her family's house, in the neighborhood she grew up in. She had survived a bullet to the head 2 years earlier, rebuilt her hearing, rebuilt her vision as much as she could, rebuilt her business, rebuilt her life. And then somebody came to the one place that was supposed to be safe and took all of it. She was 21.
The last record is never the full truth. There are always pages missing, voices unheard, connections buried under the ones that feel obvious. This file stays open. If you've ever trusted someone and later realized the danger was never where you were looking, just type, "I missed it." We'll be here when you open the next file.